Scott Hartley, author of Hit the Inbox, How to Avoid the Spam Folder and Grow Your Business with Email Marketing, all the way from Indiana. Welcome to the Sales Podcast, man. How the heck are you?
Hey, Wes, I'm really good today. It's Friday, so excited to be here.
It's Friday, testing my new Spectrum internet. We'll see. I may be going back to FiOS, but there's always the fine print, isn't there? Right?
That's
They
right.
get it installed, and I learned about a little maybe gotcha. But what do you say here? I got to pull up your LinkedIn. There are 100 ways to get email marketing wrong and just a handful of ways to get it right. Look, dude, why does it matter? Email is dead. It's all SMS and TikTok. It's TikTok, man.
It's TikTok, at least until it gets banned, right? So we'll see what happens at the end of the year on that. But now, email marketing is alive and well, and actually, with the new changes that Google and Yahoo just recently rolled out earlier this year, they kind of forewarned about it in February and started really enforcing it at the beginning of June. That's actually opening up a lot more opportunities for people who take email marketing seriously. So for some people, yes, it's going to be dead. But for those who really lean into it and do the right things, it's going to open up some great stuff.
So what changes are you talking about? Because we keep hearing things over the years, and obviously Google's made some changes. Apple forced some changes, right, with privacy and whatnot. I mean, so is that what you're talking about, or are there other little gotchas?
No, there's some other things that have been going on, and really Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, all of these mailbox providers, they're sick and tired of the spam, just like we are, right? Believe it or not, even though email to us is pretty much free, it costs them millions of dollars a year to process all of these email messages that are going back and forth. And all of the spam messages that are being sent, take up bandwidth, take up room on their servers, take up energy, and all that stuff. And so they're looking to curb all of that to save money. And then secondly, they make money off of you and I as users. So if we have a free Gmail address or free Hotmail address, remember there's advertisements in there. And they want people to be logging into their email, seeing those advertisements, because they get paid by the people who put those ads there. Yeah. And if we don't use an email address and we abandon it, well, now they're losing revenue, right?
Yeah.
So they're tired of all this spam. So in February, they started announcing, hey, we're going to be starting to really enforce some new rules. So if you want your emails delivered, you have to have every platform that you send emails from fully and properly authenticated. Okay, so that's the biggie.
Now, did they announce it then, or did they say as of February it goes into effect?
They actually announced it a little bit earlier than that. They started slowly ramping it up in February. So they kind of gave people a grace period. But by June the 1st, that was do or die day. It's like you have it in place or you don't. And if you don't, your emails are not going to get delivered at all. Not just go to junk or spam. We're not going to even accept them for delivery.
Right.
Okay. So that's one of the things. And then secondly is really being cognizant of, are people engaging with your emails, or are they reporting them as spam? Are they opening? Are they clicking? Are they replying? Or are they doing nothing? Or in worst case, hitting that, I don't want this anymore. This is spam. I've seen a lot of this in the past several weeks, actually, where these new rules that they're enforcing are starting to cause problems for people who, I don't have to worry about that, or I don't do enough email marketing, or I don't have time to deal with that. It's starting to cause some issues.
Look, man, I've got my AI VA intern. My engagement is excellent because they just write like beautiful stuff. In fact, I mean, just as we're sitting here, I just wrote 12,000 emails. So, I mean, this is the greatest day ever to be an email. I don't have to worry about this.
Right. AI is great. It can help you come up with some amazing content ideas. For people like me who are creatively challenged, it can help us write a little bit more, engaging type of content. But it's not going to solve this problem.
Yeah.
You know, we have to build the relation, and realistically, what we have to be thinking about our lists, and this requires a mindset shift. We need to be thinking about our lists as actual people.
What?
Yeah, right. It's like, oh no, it's not just number 653, out of a list of 1,000 that are, in our database.
Listen,
It,
man, I know you as a techie geek. Don't be humanizing this stuff. I need the
yeah,
ones and zeros, man.
right. It really does boil down to the relationship, because ultimately, I mean, the authentication piece, yeah, that's technical. And we could get into that and, start explaining all that, but most of your listeners are probably going to gloss over and shut us off. But the engagement piece is
DKIM,
real,
DMARC, SPF.
right? Like, what
DKIM,
are these
DMARC,
acronyms?
SPF.
What do these acronyms stand for? But it's that engagement, it's that human element that really is the most important, because that's where the money's made. That's where the sales happen.
So I've known you for years through the Infusionsoft community. You're very active and supportive. And I saw a post just was it just yesterday? I saw your post. I mean, it was recent,
Yeah, a couple of days ago.
and it really resonated with me. But I don't truly understand everything you do. I mean, is this just ancillary to what you do, or is there just that much demand and need that, I mean, that's your business is fixing people's emails? Are you also helping with bigger picture things, other systems, integration, things like that?
Yeah, most of my work now is really in the email deliverability space. And I hate using that word, deliverability, but it's really more about the list management. And it encompasses all of these different things. As you mentioned at the beginning, my LinkedIn bio, there's 100 ways to do email marketing wrong, but there's a handful of ways to do it right. Now, that's going to be different a little bit for each type of business, but that's really where I get passionate about it, because we've all built these bad habits around email, even myself, over the years, because it's been easy and it's been cheap. But now that the rules have changed and the whole game has changed, we have to do things differently if we really want to maximize it in our business. And so, and really, that post that you mentioned that I shared in several different communities, within the past 2 weeks, I've had 4 businesses come to me in a panic because they have not been paying attention to all of these shifts in the email marketing world, and now their emails are going to spam. Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo do not like these businesses sending email, and they're basically not delivering their emails. They're putting them
They
into
don't
junk.
like I mean, these aren't shady businesses, right? I mean,
No, they're
when you're
legit
saying,
businesses.
well, you're saying they don't like them sending emails. You mean they don't like them sending emails without following the technical rules?
Not just the technical rules, but also the rules of engagement, the rules
Okay.
of building a relationship.
Yeah, I've had a couple of guys on that do cold email. I worked with a client for 3 months here recently. They brought me on just to help with sales and consulting, and they already had a they had hired one vendor to do cold email. They didn't produce any results. They hired a second. They were in the works, and then they wanted to do their own to kind of split test versus the other. So I didn't recommend it. But I'm like, all right, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's like I have a pocket knife and you want to cut down a tree. It's like, okay, I mean, you paid me, so I mean, I'll help you, but like, I don't recommend this.
Right.
And okay, so yeah, we hacked it and made some marks. I carved some initials. West Love Shannon, and I mean, so
Right.
but the tree didn't come down. Uh, but man, like in the last year or so, people have beaten the drum. Cold email, cold email, cold DMs, cold DMs, and I don't like receiving them. I didn't like really sending them.
Yeah.
I tried to humanize them,
hmm
but is that, you think, a flash in the pan? Is that going to go away?
I don't know that it's going to go away. I mean, it's going to be more difficult, and I think a lot more people are going to get into hot water. Cold emailing can be done correctly, but you have to be very, very, very methodical and cognizant of the ramifications that doing cold email can have. A lot of people try to game the system. It's like, oh, just buy 15 domains and warm all of them up, and
Oh
don't
yeah,
tie,
well, that's what they're doing.
that's what they're doing. But here's the truth. Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, all these mailbox providers, they have all of this AI technology and stuff that is uh, processing millions of data points at a time, and they're connecting all the dots, the stuff that we don't even think about. And basically, all of the emails that we're sending, they have a fingerprint. It's a digital fingerprint. They read that and they can identify things that, oh crap, it's like we forgot to take this one step when we were doing our emailing, and now we're in trouble. It's like, somebody can think of like, how are all the ways that we could commit the perfect crime, but it hasn't been committed yet. Right? I mean, like there's one misstep that people make, and that's the same thing, with cold emailing, but even with the warm emailing to people who've opted into your list. These are the clients that I've spoken with over the past couple of weeks that have done so much damage to the reputation. They haven't done the basic best practices to get their emails delivered to the people who really want to hear from them.
Yeah. Speaking of the perfect crime, do you remember Inside Man with Denzel Washington? Did you see that
I
movie?
did not see that
500?
movie. I've heard of it, but
I've been on an old movie kick, and it's sad that something from 06 is old, but I've been watching 80s, 90s. I watched Roadhouse. I watched the original Roadhouse.
okay.
I haven't seen that in so long. And dude, it's so bad. And people like, no way, it's great. Like, dude, it's bad. They got a monster truck doing a stakeout. Like, it's bad. And the beautiful blonde, I forget her name, she wasn't even in it for like the first 40 minutes of the movie. So I was doubly upset. Like, just bring her in early. But I digress. But then I watched the new Roadhouse and I liked it for what it was worth. I didn't expect it to be Shakespeare. But Denzel Washington, so it was the perfect crime. This guy got away with it. So you should and talking about nudging people, right? Netflix is smart because I logged in and it said, "Oh, going away in like whatever a week or
Right.
two. It's going away soon." I was like, and I had seen it, but I forgot it. I just,
Mhm.
as it unfolds, like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that. But I couldn't have told you how the movie went before rewatching it.
Yeah.
So perfect crimes they exist, man. But not by you and me, and not by some dude in Iowa or some expatriate living in Thailand with a laptop lifestyle. So, oh yeah, pay me $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. I'll get all the cold email. I have all these people. We have access to 897 million names and email addresses. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Are we going back to live events and meeting in person and phone calls because technology is just too out of control?
Yeah. Well, we're seeing, I mean, what we've seen in the email space, where now the Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo are starting to crack down. We're seeing that in the texting space. So many people, really just ran rampant and just abused email marketing. That now that they're cracking down, it's like, okay, now it's more difficult for legitimate marketers, legitimate businesses like yours and mine to get our emails delivered to the inbox. And now we've seen the same thing happen. Everybody's like, oh, there's too much email that's going out. Let's bug people with the closest thing to them. Let's send them text messages that they never opted in for. And of course, it was the Wild West for the longest time. And now what happened? A2P. So now you have to go through this approval process.
What's
What
A2P?
Yeah, A2P. So it's the A2P registration if you're using a local phone number to send text messages. And you have to jump through a bunch of hoops, and it's a waiting process to get approved. And then you're approved for like certain types of messages. But even then, the individual carriers, so Verizon, Sprint, AT&T, T-Mobile, all these different characters or companies, if they don't like the type of message that you sent, they can turn you off just like that. And it's
Then
all
why do
because
I get
people
so
abuse that.
many? Almost once a day, certainly several times a week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm reporting as spam these freaking messages.
Yeah.
How do they get through?
It's always, these people who are the spammers and the hackers and, the bad actors, they're always one step ahead of technology, just like it is with email marketing. They're one step ahead, but all the providers are doing the best that they can.
It's rough.
All
right.
To me,
So
the thing is that we've got to go back as legitimate business owners. We have the power to get through, whether it's by email or text. We have the power to get through, again, if we look at it as how are we building our relationship with the people that we're communicating with. I mean, I would never cold text message somebody who just opted in for something, or definitely somebody who I just never opted in. But if I'm building a relationship and I set the expectations and they're okay with it, then I can use text messaging periodically to build that relationship. I can do the same thing with email. When somebody opts into my list and I set the expectations, here's what I'm going to be sending you. Here's how often I'm going to be sending it to you. And they're okay with that. Now I use that platform to build the relationship, build that know, like, and trust factor rather than abuse it. It doesn't matter what the technology is, whatever we're doing, we don't want to abuse that.
Yeah, marketers ruin everything.
That's right.
How do you reach people now, though? I mean, all this work from home, hybrid environment, direct mail. I mean, their headquarters is, Nebraska, but the CEO lives in Miami. I mean, it's okay. I'm mailing my book, and he'll never get it. Maybe quarterly,
Yeah.
For a meeting. Yeah. So much for dropping by and knocking on the door. I mean, their corporate office is, a receptionist and a PO box.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's got fake emails. Apple has hide my email.
Yeah.
How the hell do you reach people?
I mean, it's really a multi-pronged strategy. And you have to be smart about the way that you're doing outreach. I mean, you're gonna use social media. For some, depending on your business, it definitely can be direct mail. There are, ways that you can actually get, the real addresses for people, whether or not they work in the office or not. But you can definitely still do direct mail, social media marketing. Really it's taking a look at your audience. And this is one of the things that I found is that most people don't spend enough time to understand who their ideal customer is. Because when you understand who your ideal customer is, not only do you get inside their head, but you also know where they congregate. All of their online communities that you can participate in without, selling and being pushy, but again, building those relationships so that they're attracted and drawn to you. Now you can send them to a landing page. Now they can opt in. Now you can email them. Now you can, get their address, send them direct mail. There's a lot of different ways to do that, but it requires starting off knowing who my ideal customer is, where they congregate, and then building that relationship. So many people in marketing are just so desperate for that next person, that next sale, and they just want to burn it. It's like a one night stand. Can I get you home? Can I get you in bed? Oh, off to the next one the next night. That's not an effective way to do marketing, especially with all the rules now that we have in all the different media platforms.
Okay. So your book.com, is it technical? Like who needs this book? Is it going to show me how to log in and change my DNS so I'm technically okay? Are you giving me like copywriting tips? What do I get in this?
Great question. So this is a a book that's designed for the everyday business owner, entrepreneur who isn't the technical person. I wrote this book to be very readable, very consumable. As a matter of fact, I had one guy that sent me an email. He was like, I spent an hour in the bathroom reading your book, soaking in the tub. My wife came knocking on the door. Hey, are you okay in there? He read my book, just soaking in the tub. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. At least it was interesting. Kind of relaxing, I guess, as well.
Oh, I saw this funny just the other day, and I sent it to my family we got a family Instagram.
Uh-huh.
And there's this guy, like this young guy, he's struggling to walk, and the wife is going to help him. And I'm like, oh, it's one of those videos, where like the spouse stands by the side, their spouse who, traumatic injury or something. But it's like relearning how to walk after your legs go numb from sitting on the toilet, for an hour scrolling Instagram, right? I was like,
right.
one of my kids, I won't name names, but I have two boys and out of 7. So it's a he, so that narrows it down. He's notorious for sitting there for a long time. So at least your guy was in the tub. So that's a little
being
better.
productive as well, not just scrolling Instagram, right?
Relaxing and getting educated. That's good. That's a good testimonial.
But no, the book is really practical advice. Like literally, as you're reading the book, you can go start implementing different things. There is one chapter where we talk about the authentication, but I do not get real technical in that. And the reason for that is it's impossible in a book, even in a training, to give everything that people need to know, because everybody uses different platforms, and the technical work that needs to happen is going to be slightly different based upon the platforms that you need. And so I give the high level overview in that chapter of what it is in plain English, why it's important, and then an opportunity, to schedule a call with me if you would like me to take care of that for you. But everything else, the other 3 chapters are actionable things that are best practices that apply to every single business. And literally, it boils down to 4 fundamental things, with 4 secrets that I call them in the book. If you read that book in an hour or 2, and then you go apply it, and you consistently apply it, your email marketing will be completely transformed. And as I mentioned on the back cover, you will have an unfair advantage over your competition because very few people are actually doing the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how it is in all of business, right?
Well, and it's true of everything. I mean, in a way, there's too much to do.
Yeah.
And as entrepreneurs, we get distracted easily. But there are, they talk about urgent and important. And we get distracted by the urgent.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't tend towards the important as much as we should. I mean, just before this interview, I was on a call, longtime friend of mine, but he needs some help, and he's done well in his business. And he told me some stories that I didn't even know. I mean, they got hacked, their website, and just blew up his SEO. And this was several years ago, but he still hasn't recovered.
Yeah.
And you see things, you see domains get hacked, you see people take shortcuts and get blacklisted, or just like you're talking about companies calling you in a state of panic.
Yeah.
It's like and maybe it's just life. We don't know what's important until it just slaps us in the face.
Yeah.
Like medically, right? Who knows? Somebody, they're walking around today and, they're in the hospital tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know they had 90% blockage in an artery. I mean, it's our job as salespeople, as entrepreneurs, as vendors, service providers, to get the word out.
Yeah.
And hold that mirror in front of them. Look, this is going to blow up,
Yeah.
but they don't always listen. Right. But can this be fixed? Like the companies that are in a state of panic right now, let's say, so June is already come and gone, right? This thing's going to go live in the next couple of days. It'll be July at the earliest before people hear this. Can they go like just from a technical standpoint? Let's say they're doing best practices. They're the typical business. They're honest. They're communicating decently, probably more sporadically than regularly, but that they are communicating, but they didn't do the technical stuff. Is it like, do you go from, are they going from 100 to 0? Are they going from 100 to 10? And if they do the technical stuff, will it get them from 10 to 80? Or and I'm just trying to help people conceptualize what their future holds for them on this technical side, at least.
Yeah. Let me share something with you here. A couple of screenshots from a couple of the clients that I've talked to. So this is one, and you can see here that we're looking back at April 24th. Their domain reputation was high. And then all of a sudden, boom, the 1st of May, it tanked down to low. And then for almost a month, it stayed there. And then the 21st of May and going through today, boom, it really went bad. Their emails are going to spam, like especially with Google. So, this particular client, they haven't had, it's been about 2 months now that they haven't had good standing with Google. This is recovered. Another one of those businesses that I talked to, they were bad.
Is that recoverable just with the technical things you were talking about, the validation?
No, so for this particular business, they did not have the technical stuff fully in place, but they also did right here, whenever we were talking and I started digging into what was going on, this is where they started to do a lot of cold emailing. Here's where they've been emailing their list of people that had opted in. Here's where they've been doing more cold emailing, and then kind of a combination of factors, then it went even worse, right? This particular client that I was talking with, I don't know how far back their domain reputation was bad because we can only see back 120 days, but it had been bad well before the first part of April, and probably even, back to January. They did recover a little bit in mid-April and stayed there for about a month, 6 weeks. And then all of a sudden it went back to bad. Again, this particular client did not have any of the authentication set up. And what contributed to this particular client is that they were not monitoring their list. They were not looking at how many emails were bouncing. They had been doing social media ads, getting a lot of opt-ins, but it was a bunch of bots. And so they were emailing them. They weren't validating or cleaning the emails. They were just sending out email after email after email. And finally, they started bouncing, which caused emails to go bad. And then they were also getting a large number of spam complaints. So they weren't delivering.
And what size business were these?
People had actually signed up for, right? So this one, these are, what I would consider small businesses. I think their email list, this one here, the email list is probably about 1,000, 1,500 emails. This one here, their list was about 3,700. So it is recoverable. I mean, this one you can see they went from bad to low, and then they went bad, and of course it was here in June that they actually reached out to me, for some help. This particular client, we're still in the midst of getting our plan implemented to get them back up to medium and high on domain reputation. Here's the kicker.
Days. Yeah.
You can see that it drops within a matter of like a week, right? Days or a week. It's going to take months to actually get back up.
To be clear,
I mean, reputation.
They're not sending Viagra ads or something. I mean, these are real people with a real business, just sending a newsletter to their customers.
they're not really sending a newsletter per se as we would normally think of it. These are like value-added, informational, value-packed emails. Some of them have some, light sales
Okay.
pitches in them. Hey, book a
But
call
these
with
weren't
me, or
cold, right?
go
These
sign up for
were
this course or whatever. But it's legit emails.
oh,
These
yeah,
weren't
yeah.
cold.
Okay.
Now,
And that
except
makes
for this
sense.
client where they did start sending, a bunch of cold emails. Yeah. So I mean that's where we're getting into that is and here's the thing. Most email marketers, I'm going to say
Yeah.
99.9% of them are not paying attention to this at all. They have no idea. As a matter of fact, one of the people that I spoke with this past week via email, they were in a panic.
Yeah.
Their domain reputation has been bad for ever, probably. And here's the worst part. The worst part is that they were like, well, can this be fixed? Yes, it can be fixed. We need to dig into what the problem actually is. Schedule a complimentary call with me and let's dig into this so that we can
Yeah.
figure out what we need to do. I've told them that 3 times. And in their
Yeah.
first email, oh, this is critical. We've got to
Hey,
meet
man.
tomorrow. They still have yet to
Yeah.
schedule
You
it.
can't force them, huh?
It's like, okay. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And even if
Yeah,
you give
it's
him enough
true.
salt, that still may not make him drink.
Very
So
cool. So, and yeah, your book, I mean, the ebook is just $7. Paperback is what successful marketers get, is just $17. So, I mean, good grief, people. Go get the book. Call Scott.
yeah, I mean, the book itself is, I mean, it's written every day, plain English, simple to understand, actionable that you can actually put to work immediately, and just making a few, even if you don't do everything that I outlined in the book, but you make a few of the shifts, you'll notice
Very
an
cool.
improvement in your
All
email
right. Well, I'm
marketing and your
linking to that.
conversions as a
Link
result
to
of
your
that.
LinkedIn. Hit the inboxbook.com. Thanks for being flexible and hopping on before I go to vacation. It was good catching up. All right, man. Well, have a great day.
Absolutely, Wes. I appreciate the opportunity. All right, you too. We'll see you.